Guys, here I am again. Already, we are going back to connecting some more fragments. Yeah, super fun. Alright, anything on the first page we can do? It does not look like it yet. Okay, here's one right here, repetitive apologies. Looks like we can do these two. We can either do that or assistance from a queen. Let's go ahead and do assistance from a queen. That very night, the head of the Furude family, the priest, gathered his wife Enrique Furude together for a family meeting. In Hinamizawa, it was tradition for the three families to get together and discuss the village's issues, so it was hardly unusual for big families like the Sonozaki family and the Kimiyoshi family to have meetings beforehand to sort out opinions on themselves. However, the Furude family had lost its branch family, so there was only three of them left. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all. What is it? You're being formal. It's about the dam construction. The dam was the most important issue in their village at the moment. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. For him to gather all of them together like that, it must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pro-evacuation camp. No, it's not about the dam, but it's about something extremely important which concerns its village and perhaps all the ancestors of the villagers too. The Furude family has served the priesthood of Oyashiro-sama, the guardian deity of the village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way, it must be something extremely important. Yeah, he said it was about the dam, so what could he want to talk about? I'm married into this family, so I want Eureka, who has carried the true blood of the family, Furude family, to listen very carefully. You two aren't normal human beings. I'm the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, right? Rika, you shouldn't say such things. Dear, let's talk about things like that without her. She's heard enough nonsense from the elderly people at the village hall already. What she just said about her being the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that appears to be true. What? It's a rather long story. Please just sit tight and listen to me. The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face, not knowing what he was going to say, but Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression. The priest started to talk about his wife. Oops. The priest started to talk after his wife calmed down. There is a disease in this village that's been here for many years. It's a special disease. Not specific, it's special. Which only exists here in this area. Everyone who lives in this village has the disease. Not only the people who live here now, but all the people who have ever lived here had the disease. Well, we're all perfectly healthy. I've never heard of a disease exclusive to this village. Calm down. As long as we're here in this village, the disease won't cause any problems. But once you move away from this village is when it starts to act out. You understand? How can you expect me to understand such a thing? I have no idea what you're talking about. It's the same as the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Rika said it calmly while her mother became frustrated. That's right. They say when you leave this village, you're cursed. It's just like that. In other words, the curse of Oyashiro-sama, which is our ancestors have feared for generations, is actually a disease that only exists in this village. How could that be possible? We left the village before. Other villagers, too, have somehow gone on business trips, and some even travel to foreign countries. True, but that's why, because the disease is weakened over time, so it was going to disappear eventually. But the business with the dam disrupted that process. Everyone knew that during the dam war, the entire village was aflame with agitation. Such excitement and emotional instability makes the disease stronger. I still don't know what you're trying to say. What we thought was a curse all this time was actually caused by a disease. That's right. All the rules Oyashiro-sama came up with were to protect the villagers from the disease. No way, then Oyashiro-sama was actually a disease, not a god? How could that be? How can I explain that to the Furude family ancestors? Calm down, the faith in Oyashiro-sama won't change. The fact that Oyashiro-sama is watching over Hinamizawa will remain the same. And it was just the means the disease producing the Oyashiro-sama's curse was in his village since long ago. That's all. I won't accept that. How can I explain that to our ancestors? This is desecration of the Furude family's age-old traditions. No, this is a desecration of Oyashiro-sama. Well, who told you such a thing? This isn't acceptable. In the first place, can you prove such a disease actually exists? I can. What kind of proof? Who gave it to you? The people from the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Infectious Disease Prevention. They've already found the pathogen and they're searching for a cure right now. I saw the good documents and samples last week. The people at the Ministry of Health call it the Hinamizawa syndrome. No way. As long as you lead a normal life, the syndrome is harmless. But once you go far from Hinamizawa, or if you become emotionally unstable, it's easy for the disease to manifest itself. When the disease acts out, you can be possessed by your own delusions, and in the worst case scenario, you can go mad. They discovered this disease during the war. A distinguished scholar noticed that only the soldiers from Hinamizawa came down with the abnormal disease, and he's been researching all these years. They explained some details of this research, but I'm sorry, they are too complicated for me to explain. If you don't believe what I'm saying, why don't you go listen to them yourself? At first, I was indignant too, but wondering how they dare blaspheme Oyashiro-sama about such nonsense. The Area Clinic was built to study the syndrome. It appears to be just a clinic on the outside, but actually it's a secret research center for studying the syndrome. Secret research? That's ridiculous. If it's actually backed by the Ministry of Health, why aren't they doing it out in the open? Well, I guess they can't. For example, to think about the leprosy victims who were misunderstood and exiled. They are still misunderstood and discriminated against, even today, in fact. In fact, the whole country finds out that this and thinks that anyone in Misawa who had contracted this weird disease can go back at any moment or turn into chaos. The Ministry of Health was taking that into consideration and is working on developing a cure while keeping the disease a secret. Don't get me wrong, though. They are trying to put us on display or anything. They were trying to eliminate this disease and free this village from it. It was a different story long ago who supported ourselves, but nowadays it's impossible not to leave the village. It's a simple act of leaving the village can trigger the disease. You realize how dangerous it is for the villagers, right? I'm repeating myself now, but in the recent dam protests, this whole village entered a strong, excited state, which is very bad for the Yamazawa syndrome. If some villagers go mad, do something horrible, it'll be all over the media. That's right, if it happens, it'll be too late. But how can I believe this? Are you sure we're dealing with people from the government? Are you sure you aren't being tricked? I don't blame you for not being able to believe it. They said we can take a look at their facility anytime. I've seen it before, and I know that no mere fraud could assist with something like that. Even that big hospitals in Higurashi don't have such a large-scale equipment. If you can't believe what I just told you, you should go to the research center yourself and ask questions. They can explain it better than I can. They said their explanation isn't good enough. They can explain it to you at the National Research Institute in Tokyo or even at the Ministry of Health's main office. Whether I believe it or not, how we related to that. It is said that the Furude family inherited the blood of Oyoshiro-sama, and it's also said that if a girl was born for 8 continuous generations, that 8th generation girl will become the reincarnation of Oyoshiro-sama. Meep. That's right. I'm the 7th. And this Rika is the 8th generation. But that is what does that have to do with the disease? The Misawa syndrome was caused by a type of parasite. Although they're very tiny, you can't even see them with the naked eye. They say there's some sort of leader among the parasites. Are you saying that's the Furude family? It appears that the leader of these parasites is passed down through generations only by people with a direct bloodline to their Furude family. In other words, in previous generation it was you, and now it's Rika. Meep. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would it be something as disgusting as the parasite in the first place? Calm down. I'm not good at explaining things. Please have experts explain it to you. According to them, studying this parasite leader is necessary in order to research the disease. No, I won't have anything to do with such suspicious research, and Rika won't either. I'm telling you to calm down. They think that Misawa syndrome acts out when separated from the parasite leader, not the village itself. When you were little, do you remember villagers telling you had psychic powers? Were you able to cure elderly people who got migraines after taking a long trip? That's the proof that you were carrying the parasite leader. Their Furude bloodline has the power to cure people the disease. To discover a cure is extremely important that we participate in their research. If they study me, will the villagers be saved? That's what they say. All the villagers infected, including me, everyone else, Satoko too? Yep, not only the people who live in the village, but the relatives in Okonomiya too. We're talking thousands of people. That's why the Ministry of Health spends so much money to build a specialized research center. Whew. I object. How can you let Rika be a sacrifice if it's so suspicious? I don't mind. It's a Satoko can say that. I don't mind being a sacrifice. I really don't. You be quiet, Rika. I absolutely refuse. I'll go talk to them and freeze them directly. I won't let them kill Rika in some crazy experiment. Besides, Rika is the only one heir of the Furude family. What if something happens to her? The Furude family will die right here. Don't you see that? You need to think more about our family. That's why the villagers call you an opportunist. After all, you think it's odd the Ministry of Construction is trying to submerge the village and the Ministry of Health is trying to cure disease when the world's going on. The Ministry of Health has warned that this disease could be triggered by a change in environment, so they're actually trying to have the Ministry of Construction start the damn construction plan. You really should go to the research center. They would have built. Why would they build such a huge facility location that could be submerged? We let out big yawn. It was past bedtime for a little girl like her. I'm going to bed now, but Dad, please let them know I'm willing to participate, okay? Rika, you can't make such a decision without consulting me. Rika, wait. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a much needed breather real quick and then start the next fragment. Whew, okay, that was a nice break. Early summer 1979 AD. Huff, 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 huff. Shit, damn it. Shit, manager. Manager, come on, say something. Manager, you idiot, he's dead already. Clang, a loud noise slapped that out of everyone. Someone dropped the shovel he was holding. The shovel was smeared with reddish black blood, not just a shovel. All 6 construction workers' clothes were blood soaked too. One of them cried out to the silent dead body of the manager, which was drenched in blood. Manager. Oh, shut up, he's already dead. It was self-defense, right? Self-defense. The fight had started after the manager yelled at them for drinking beer inside the office. There were no drinking, no smoking signs everywhere. The manager harshly scolded at anyone who broke that rule. So it was the 6 workers' fault for disobeying, but they drank because they were stressed out by the anti-dim protesters. And that's why they said things to provoke the manager. They told him to step out, and the others went along. The construction workers toiled hard and long hours. That's why they instigated the fight with the manager to release their stress. They had expected just curse at each other or to end up in a wrestling match, but things escalated, or to put it more accurately, the manager exploded all of a sudden. The manager had to deal with the residents' protests as well, so he was just under as much pressure, or maybe even more. But how he changed was not normal. The manager was calm at first, but he gradually became more aggressive, and it was like he transformed into someone completely different. No, it was like he was possessed by something evil. The men who instigated the fight sobered up when they saw his behavior. Then the manager picked up a shovel that was nearby and tried to smash his opponent's head with it. He managed to avoid the hit, but it didn't. If he didn't, his head would have surely been split open. The manager kept pounding on him with the shovel, even as he frantically tried to avoid the hits. By this time, the workers had realized this was beyond a simple fight, so they tried to hold back the manager. The manager turned on him with a shovel, too. One of the men tried to protect himself by crossing his arms across his head, but there was no way he could have blocked the shovel swing with such force. Blood spluttered out of the man's grown pain. By this time, the 6 men had realized the manager was not his usual self. The manager would try to bash her in the brains without hesitation. Since their opponent was using a shovel as his weapon, they tried to find some kind of weapon too. One of them grabbed a huge hammer, then the other realized they needed to find something as well. To restrain the managers in that condition, it was better to arm themselves. And was it supposed to be this way? Why? It didn't take that long for the madness to infect the 6 workers. It was only a matter of time before they went from restraining him to lynching him. What the hell? My PS4. Oh, my controller died. I guess a YouTube playlist was going on. Okay, well, that ain't gonna happen again. By the time I realized what happened, the manager was already a lump of meat. His face was swollen, shreds of skin had been torn off his muscles, and skull were visible too. He was quite dead. Ugh. He almost killed us, remember? If he had infected us, we wouldn't have fought him, right? And the leader of the 6 who instigated the fight tried to bring the rest to his side, but nobody replied. And so the leader became frustrated. He was the one who started the fight. The rest simply joined in. He was the main perpetrator. Maybe that's why he was feeling so exasperated. He seems like he was the one at fault. Don't just stand there like a limp noodle. It's too late. We killed him. There's nothing we could do about it. We're our murderers now. Buck, you ain't thinking about turning yourselves in and doing time, are you? Fuck you. I can't go to a slammer at my age. We're hiding now. We're hiding this corpse, pretending nothing happened. Okay. Some of them knew he was on probation for an assault incident once before. If he got in trouble with the law again, the punishment would be more severe than they could imagine. That was why he was trying desperately to find a way out. If he was alone with the manager's body, then he wouldn't have behaved this way. All you had to do is hide the manager's body and pretend nothing happened. But there were 6 of them, including him. They were partners in crime and witnesses too. If even one of them turned themselves in and out of guilt, he'd be in big trouble. But even if we hide the body, they'll find out sooner or later. Instead, we should just plead justifiable self-defense, so they might end up partying in us. Don't be stupid. Look what we've done. Look at his face. Who would think this was all self-defense? His parents wouldn't even be able to identify him in this condition, you idiot. But even if we hide it, everyone's going to find out tomorrow morning when the manager doesn't show. It's hopeless. What's hopeless is your damn brain, you shithead. He slapped the other man in the face. The leader has such an evil look in his eyes. Listen well, dipshits. We're all murderers, okay? Keep gripping now, we'll get sent with 5 or 6 years. If one of you here try and blab, we'll all be locked up. Don't underestimate the pain. If you're prepared to be caught and run like your life depends on it, you can resign yourself until later when it's time to pay the piper. His voice had turned more and more demonic. It was the same expression the manager had just had a few minutes ago. Was he possessed by the same thing that possessed the manager? The five men started to think that way. Now that they considered it, all the villagers and the anti-dam protesters had the same expression on their faces too. The real name of the Hinamizawa was Onagafuchi Village. People said that wicked demons lived there, and sometimes they possessed people. The man couldn't help but recall that the exaggerated story was often told by the demonstrators. The man just swung the shovel after his expression changed to that demonic one. There was no guarantee that this man wouldn't do the same. In fact, he was still squeezing the hammer in his hand and glaring at everyone and threatening them. If someone suggested surrender, and he probably smashed their head in with it. I know, to make sure nobody betrays the rest, I have an idea. I'll make it easier to hide the body, too. What is it? We're gonna cut up the body into 6 pieces. What? No, what? All they wanted to object to the idea. Killing him was a serious crime itself. Dismembering the body would be too much. But if anyone objected, he killed it on the spot, so no one said anything. We all cut him up together. Remember what the manager used to say, teamwork. We're all in this together. We'll take each body part and hide it responsibly. What do you think? This way we're all equally guilty, right? I won't let anyone get themselves up. Oh, the 5 men were all taken in by his ghastly face. And they could even feel the fear of the Nakafuchi demons creep up their backs. Ooh. Okay, guys, I'm gonna take a few minute break and go for the next fragment. Okay, that's a nice break. Looks like the background changed a little bit. Just to a notepad now. That's interesting. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna do, I guess this is the first one I saw. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there's something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the queen carrier, the village will collapse. In this article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the queen carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. This may be unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there's some truth to it. Among all the mysteries incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to the Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of the entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that on average it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are affected by the queen carrier, and the condition of the queen carrier is in fact affecting the entire village. Our statistics already proved that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, it would be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the RA clinic has to protect Rika Furude, the queen carrier, is the most important mission of the Hinamizawa syndrome project. She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try and harm her. Her life is equal to the life of 2,000 villagers. But what if something happened to her by accident? The RA Institute must prepare for that situation. That's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the RA Institute was first established. It's a precaution in case the queen carrier dies or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the queen carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas that making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They are used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. Through a dummy company, the ground SDF has secured a closed quarry in the Higurashi region upstream of Hinamizawa. It used to be the secret storage base with the equipment we used to in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the ground SDF is to use this equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa syndrome is and how urgent it is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove that the need for the plan by showing them enough data so the files my grandfather keep come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst case scenario. In other words, if something happens to this girl, the queen carrier, all 2,000 villages will become deranged. Is that what you're saying? Yes, there have been several cases to the Hinamizawa syndrome where group suicides took place. In the case of this syndrome, we can easily expect extreme defense behavior, which results in the paranoia. The result may affect all 2,000 plus carriers. From there on, we may face abnormal situations involving lawless violence and bizarre religious despondence. We must be ready to face such a situation by having a contingency plan. Otherwise, we'll draw attention from the rest of the world. We'd have to remember that we only have 48 hours to respond once it happens. Are you saying that if it happens, there's nothing we can do? Can't you try to treat everyone within 48 hours? That'd be impossible. We don't even have a cure, and the research center is capable of taking in all the villagers. How frightening to realize such a disease actually exists. The world is full of mysteries. Constant vigilance against worst-case scenarios supports our national defense is one of the ideas behind the Alphabet Project. Our goal is to not use the plan, but it's vital to be prepared. Indeed, precisely as you say, I still like to look around into strengthening the rules of approval authority behind applying the plan, but I understand the necessity to prepare a response for a worst-case scenario. Let's have the operating suppression and research team running the situation of the Hinomazawa suppression operation in the region. I think we should get going as soon as possible. It's possible that the Queen carrier may be hit by a car and be killed at any moment. Thank you, Major Takano. We have further questions, so you can sit down. Thanks to a push on one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It almost took a day to explain it to them, but only took a short time to come to the decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. He and the files are all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them in my grandfather's heart. They aren't ridiculing the articles, they are reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is full of satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other while pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? I'm going to take another quick break because I got a cough anyway. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and do the first sacrifice. Why not? I was half asleep, so I didn't hear the phone ringing nearby. After a while, I finally realized the phone was ringing, and a ringing phone means there's some kind of emergency. It's 2 in the morning. Who would even call me at this time of night? Hello, this is Ari. I'm sorry to bother you, Dr. Ari. It's Takano-san. She's never called me for a personal reason. At the institute, she's ranked just below me, so it's basically responsible for running it. So for her to call me this late, it must be an emergency. Sorry it took me so long. Is it true that we have another terminal patient? Yes, I was hoping to find a living specimen, so this is perfect. I initially thought she abducted someone. The man had already been moved to the research area in the clinic's basement, having been tied onto the examination table. He's struggling against his restraints, but it's more as though he's deranged and actually resisting. I can't even understand what he's saying. He sounds like angry, sorrowful, and the child throwing a tantrum all at once. It's obvious that he's not in the right state of mind. Anyway, let's put him under anesthesia. He might kill himself otherwise. I wanted to observe him a little longer, but I guess I have no other choice. What's that about to say? One of the staff with the white gown got the anesthesia ready. Even a normal person would struggle to escape a restraining table in the suspicious room, but this man's behavior is at an abnormal level. I'm sure Okanogi-san and his friends from the Mountain Dogs are the ones who captured him. Capturing a man this state of mind couldn't have been an easy task. According to Takano, she ran into this patient on her way home from the clinic by accident. She brought him back here, tested him, and the result came back positive. Of course, I have no intentions of just believing what she's telling me, but there's no question that this man is at the terminal stage, and a live specimen is exactly what we need to research the syndrome. Who's this man anyway? He has something wrapped in a newspaper. What do you think was in it? Ugh, what is this? They're hunting a bloody newspaper on a train nearby, looking at the drenched bloody paper. I can only imagine there's some kind of gruesome thing inside of it. Yet Takano-san looked like she wanted to surprise me with something interesting. Oh god, this is awful. It's a bloody right arm. The man on the table still has the right arm doesn't belong to him, so who does it belong to? I'm used to looking at things like this as a doctor, but the horrible cross-section makes me want to look away. It was done according to a medically acceptable method, that's for sure. It was obvious done out of cruelty. Judging by the situation, we can assume this man cut off his arm. So the culprit behind the body dumping has been occurring in the neighborhood. At that point, there's no way of knowing who the right arm belongs to. But the next morning, the murder of the damn construction site director was reported. They mentioned that his right arm was still missing, so we learned who the arm belongs to. This man has a criminal record and he's on probation, yet he's committed another crime. I bet he dismantled the body in order to hide it. I'm sure it depends on the circumstances, but he'll get more than just a few years in prison. Okay, you just want, you just want, so you won't hesitate to dissect a scumbag like him, right? Who knows? Maybe he's a scumbag before he became violent due to this syndrome. Neat. Okay, there we go. Or maybe he had gone straight, but became violent again due to the syndrome. The former is one thing, but if it's the latter case, it's not his fault. That's why the Higurashi syndrome is so terrifying. We can't tell if the syndrome is the cause of the crime or if it's simply a problem of human nature. But what causes a defect of human nature in the first place? That was precisely our area of research. We hate the crime, not the criminal. What can criminals only be corrected by punishing them with the imprisonment? If a person commits a crime because of a mental disorder, then gets treatment, he is corrected. But in other words, there are no crimes in this world, only patients awaiting treatment without anyone else being able to understand them. In medieval times, patients with mental disorders were said to be possessed by demons and they were either confined or killed. Centuries after, they finally acknowledged as mentally ill people who needed treatment. Perception can change with time, even if they are called criminals now. Maybe after several centuries, those criminals will be acknowledged as patients who are entitled to appropriate treatment, explaining crimes through illness instead of malice. And that's my life's work. Higurashi syndrome is a strange disease that can support my theory. Solving this mysteries is extremely important to me. To solve those mysteries, I need a medical sacrifice, and it's an extremely simple thing to do, but there's no way to unravel with this without it. The Aryan Institute was unauthorized to take such drastic measures if necessary, and that's why I was asked about it so many times. I accepted the position of the director, and finally the opportunity is here. This is really the first step of our research center on this strange disease. But now I'm a little hesitant. I've opened up human bodies in many surgeries. What I've been doing on this man is something very similar, but there's also something very different. What I did was part of treatment. What I did was save patients' lives. I did it so patients could have a better future. But what I'm trying to do here isn't treatment. He will die at the end of it, and his death will be far from humane. I'm going to violate nature and force him to stay alive while I open up his living brain. Director, are you listening? Sorry, could you repeat that? I believe that this past week submitted the dissection proposal to Tokyo and request their assistance. He's not only alive, he's also in the terminal stage, so he's an extremely important specimen. You must conduct the dissection very carefully. That's true, you're right. Let's do as you say. I think we'll have a few days before the dissection, so I want to run some reaction tests once he's off the anesthetic. Do you think that's safe? Even if he's restrained, we don't know what will happen. We finally have the opportunity to test the live specimen. We can't only look into his brain. The Kano's unusual cheerfulness made me feel odd. Maybe her reaction is normal. Maybe I'm the one who's not reacting normally to this situation. I'm only here for the research, so I should be excited to have the opportunity to perform our first live dissection. But I'm still hesitant. How can I call myself a researcher? Researchers of the past were brave enough to cross the line. That's how they accomplished many things. I've seen many brains have operated on them, but I lost patients too. But I never thought of anything of it because I knew I did the right thing. Even when my hard work was denied afterwards, it pained me to think of that. Then I just need to advance the field of medicine to ensure their deaths weren't wasted. That's the true form of advancing the field of medicine. Yet, while my heart was tormented so much by changing the name from treatment to dissection, doesn't mean I'm not man enough to emulate those great men of the past who opened the doors of new medicine, that I don't have the power to develop new advance myself. Hey, what's the matter, Director? Are you feeling okay? Takano's pretending to be concerned about me, but she knows. She knows I'm still hesitating. She's telling me that I should be ashamed as a researcher for feeling that way. I shook my head to clear of its sleepiness. Remember, the resolve brought me here to this day. I already have blood on my hands, but if I stop now, their lives will be wasted. Those who shed their blood can only rest in peace once they have become cornerstones of great research. I shook my head once more and reminded myself that I'm a researcher. No, I was just thinking, Takano-san, please make some arrangements with Tokyo and let them know when it's done. Okay, understood. This is really exciting. The least I can do is my best so my life won't be wasted. If he bleeds, can't waste even a drop of his blood. After scolding my staff for their indiscretion of discussing the dissection with such excitement, I returned to my office. Guys, I'm gonna take another few minute break and look for the next fragment. Okay, let's go with this one. There's a handful available, but I'm gonna go with this one. I went to Satoko on my way to the grocery store for my mother. Satoko said she was going there too, so we decided to go together. After exchanging our shopping lists, it became easy to guess what the other family would be having for dinner. Satoko's family's having grilled fish and cooked vegetables. We're having Salisbury steak. My, that sounds very good. I don't mind the grilled fish, but it's the vegetables I'm less fond of. I'm certain there's still plenty of pumpkin left from the other day. Then I'll bet you'll be gaining a lot tonight. Poor Satoko. I don't appreciate knowing that pumpkin's going to show up on the dinner table. Meep, you don't like pumpkin no matter how it shows up. Rika, do you have some food you're not fond of, don't you? That's right, you don't like Daifuku cream puffs or anything sweet, don't you? And it's not like I don't like those things. I just choose not to eat them. If I wanted to, I could eat sweets forever. I even could eat pumpkin pie, Nipa. Oh, that's not fair. You aren't a very picky eater. Conversations like this are how I have fun. Satoko is my best friend. I usually don't like grocery shopping, but if I'm with Satoko, I can make it an enjoyable evening stroll. Near the supermarket, there's a grocer's and another shop forming a little shopping district. The grocery store is busy this time of day. All the housewives in Himazawa gather here to shop. Since Satoko and I have different things to buy, we decided to do our shopping separately. Welcome, Rika Shama. You shopping for your mother? What a good girl, Nipa. I'm a good girl who can go shopping by herself. While you're really a good girl, here I'll give you this. There are silver candies for the owner's occasional asthma attack. I said a sea full of change hanging in front. He picked out a sweet from there, gave it to me. It was my favorite flavor, strawberry milk. I put it in my pocket so I could brag about it to Satoko later. I get a lot of fun teasing Satoko, making her jealous. She always overreacts, so I never get bored when I'm with her. What are you having for dinner tonight, Rikushama? Ground pork? We're making a Salisbury steak. We're going to put flower-shaped fried eggs on top and draw pictures on them with ketchup. Sounds like fun. I enjoyed that conversation while while filling my shopping basket. But then I heard some woman whispering. They talk about something that's a little harsh. They talk about Satoko. How long do those villagers traders plan to stay here? They should just leave. They don't have the guts to go shopping themselves and make their daughter do it instead. They went on and on. Ever since the Hojo family and Sasanozaki family got into a huge fight at the explanatory meeting for the dam project, the Hojo family has been ostracized within the village. At first, there were a significant number of families in favor of leaving, like the Hojos, but the main bridge of the Sanozakis led to a push to completely solidify the village's opinions, and as that tone of unified resistance grew stronger, the pro-evacuation family steadily grew quiet. The public harassment led by the Sanozakis and Kimiyoshis, the two of the three families with powerful influence on the village, and played in effect too. The Sanozaki family made the Hojo family into an example to ensure there would be no more pro-evacuation supporters. The ancestors of the villagers have lived here for generations, and the villagers also know that they themselves will be buried in this village, so harassment put a lot of pressure on them. Who was it that agreed to make the Hojo family the leader of the pro-evacuation group at the explanatory meeting? Those same people no longer said anything, and they even joined on harassing the Hojo family. Oops. The harassment they faced became pressure from the entire village. The Hojo family is hardly wealthy, and they haven't paid the town council fees in a long time. When things were peaceful, nobody said anything about it, but now the wind is blowing a different way. The Hojo family was asked to pay all of their late fee council fees immediately. It was an amazing amount they couldn't afford, but the Hojos recognized their fight was being picked with them, and they responded to it. And so the Hojo family quit the town council, but they only played right into the village's evil plan. Making an enemy of the town council meant facing vicious harassment. For example, the place the Hojos dumped their trash was a provisional dumping site established by the town council and the waste management department. Under council agreement, only council members could use it. Ever since the day the Hojo family quit the village council, their trash bags were returned to their front door. Furthermore, all the bags were torn. On top of that, a sign went up on the hedgerow near the Hojo family, said private road, no trespassing, only council members permitted. A stubborn old man stood and guarded the road, saying that he would not let any of the Hojo family members pass through. A private road is private property open up to the public, so it looks like a normal road. However, as private property, the owner can forbid anyone else to pass through whenever they like. and more the villagers piled on. Vicious harassment, the fear of antagonism spread through the entire village, and people became afraid that if they supported the Hojo family, they'd go through the same thing. This made the Hojo family even more isolated. Their grown-ups haven't even told their kids about what's going on, so Satoko isn't harassed in any way at school, but it wasn't hard to imagine she probably spent her days feeling so anxious she could hardly breathe. Even when the women whispering in here aren't saying anything directly to Satoko, when it's not like she doesn't notice their muttering and cold stares. When did this village become so cold towards her, as her best friend is very sad for me. Satoko's shopping experience is nothing like mine. When I say hello or buy things, I usually get treats or discount, but that doesn't happen to Satoko. On the contrary, she served last night on purpose, and sometimes shop owners even pretend they don't hear her. Obviously, people don't want to have anything to do with her. Satoko had been weaving through the housewives crowding the shop, telling the fishmonger what she wanted, but she kept getting ignored. She decided to keep her smile and pretend she doesn't mind, but I know. It was far too painful for her to endure. At that point, Satoko dropped her coins on the ground. Maybe her finger got stuck on something when she was trying to put the change back into her wallet. I ran through the crowd to help her pick them up, but as I did, I noticed something. Satoko dropped a lot of coins and is struggling to pick all of them up, but nobody is helping her. It's not just that, it's almost like they're acting like they don't even see her there. Satoko wasn't expecting anyone to help her since she's the one who dropped them, but there are so many people around and not even one's trying to aid her. Satoko, I'll help you. Okay, Rika, that reaction is all I need to know how hurt she is. Furthermore, when I started to help Satoko out of the house, I started to pick up the coins too, as if it's the only natural thing to do, so they only help if a shrine maiden of the Furude family does it. It didn't help that they have only disregarded her completely. It didn't help they would have disregarded her completely. And the fact that other people helped only because it hurt Satoko even more. I grabbed the coins from the housewives without thanking them. I'd rather spit at them than do that. So thank you very much, Rika, everyone. If she didn't thank them, people would talk about that too. She took her words of gratitude. The housewives looked down on her with blank expressions. I can't stand this. I can't stand what Satoko's going through right now. If we're down, let's go, Satoko. Sure. I grabbed Satoko's arm and pulled her away. I was frustrated, sad, and bitter. What was Satoko done? In reality, it's just too cruel. Everyone loves me, but I can share that love. Can I share that love with Satoko? Satoko must be wondering why people treat me so differently. I shouldn't come shopping with her, or rather, I should have done her shopping instead. Satoko, what is it, Rika? I feel bad that you dropped your coin, so here's something that'll make you happy. I want you to at least ease her pain a little bit, so I pulled out the strawberry milk candy I just received, but Satoko refused to take it. That candy was given to you by hand froze. She saw me getting this candy. That person wanted you to eat it, so if I did it, it'd be rude. Satoko turned her back on me and kept walking. Without even saying goodbye, she continued on to her house with the shopping bags in her hands. I only wanted to ease her pain, but I ended up rubbing salt in her wound. How could I call herself a best friend? If I could, I would have crushed the candy right there. Okay, I'm gonna take another few minute break here. Okay, this will probably be like the last fragment I do, because for this video, because as you can see, we've done a nice handful, but we still have a handful left to go. Yeah, let's do research is going well for our last one of this video. Thankfully, most of them are only like 5 to 10 minutes long, so I can take a few minute break in between, but there's just so many of them. I'm Freddie, so thank you for waiting. We just finished the last test. She'll be back soon. What? I hope she's able to help. Okay. Of course, Rika-san will help the whole village. I think we'll be able to come up with the treatment soon. We're still looking into their structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers. People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves, but we found out if they get close to the queen carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. This substance has calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down. If it could produce this substance, it'll make up for making for a powerful treatment. I see Rika has that kind of power. You shouldn't be surprised. People say that maidens at Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm both souls and demons, don't they? Recorded in the history of the last few hundred years. That's true. I'm impressed with how wise people were back then. Meep, the tests are all done. Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you take this and go get something to drink? Meep, they took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish. Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran to the hallway. I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far. Rika is very concerned. How do I get unmuted? Mute. Okay. If she hadn't offered assistance, we wouldn't have made this much progress. Rika is very concerned about her friend because of her syndrome. She says she wanted to help her. Huh. Okay. Doctor, please take Rika's feelings into account. Of course, we're taking her precious time every Sunday, so we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this. We may have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand. We'll never harm her in any way, though. She's such an important person. She is a reincarnation of Oyashio-sama, after all. I wonder how people back then found out about this syndrome, and how they knew their Fude family were the descendants of the queen. I'm truly impressed. By the way, there's something I have to ask you. I would like to ask your permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Also, there's a chance I will have to drill a hole into her skull to examine the inside of her head. A hole in her skull? Of course, I'll take every precaution. Rika-san is the one and only queen carrier. We'll make sure that she's safe, and her safety is our priority. Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't have to shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay out of the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her. Stay at the clinic a little longer, okay. She can still receive visitors, of course. You're more than welcome to attend the examination. I'm sure she'll be more relaxed as someone she knows nearby. Do you really need to perform this examination? Is it really safe? I can't absolutely guarantee your safety for either collecting the cerebrospinal fluid or drilling a hole in her skull. There's always the off chance that something might go wrong. Also, Rika-san might suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort. Even if it's this important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent. Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it. What does she say? She said it's fine. I've explained to her the possibility of danger, but we still need your consent. Sometimes Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Oyashio-sama, so maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers. What an impressive child. Could you please let me talk with my wife? She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her. Sure, of course. Please talk over it with her. So this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right? Yes, it will solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome for sure. At least that'll be the first step. As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms. That's right, according to the studies, within 40 hours of the death of the Queen Carrier, everyone with disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening no matter what. If something happens to Rika, the whole village will go insane. Yes, it's our job to prevent that. It might seem ironic that we put your daughter in danger, but this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome. Dr. Ari, I hope you'll succeed in that examination. As I said, there's no guarantees in medicine, sure. Ari answered with a nod, interrupting Takano's vague response. I will succeed. I will save Rika-san and the villagers too, I promise. Okay. I'll talk to my wife. I'll let you know our decision. Yes, thank you. Hehehe. After Rika and her fellow left, Takano started to laugh. What is it? What's so funny? Hehehe, oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission for both the patient and her parents beforehand. Rika-chan is going through something she doesn't have to. I thought I should as a courtesy. I would have gotten consent from the man last year had it been in normal condition. Are you being tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here? What do you mean? This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irene made it clear how displeased he was to hear that. You can only research Hinamizawa syndrome by using living beings. You feel guilty continuing your work because of that. Those guilty feelings are a necessity. Whether it's a murder or dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that and at the same time devote ourselves to the research. That's an extremely impressive theory you have there, Dr. Ari. How many times have you gotten consent before you come to people's brains? Ari didn't think Takano knew about that. How many brains have you cut up without consent using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse? That is, common sense changes back with time. Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand, so I don't think you have to be concerned about the past. It'd be a problem now, but it was okay back then, so that's fine. But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand, and why you wanted to get it from him, right? That's not true in the first place. The treatment and dissections are... Listen, boy, what you want is a stamp of forgiveness known as prior consent, right? What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart so you can atone for your past sins. If you regret what you've done, then you never get involved with brains again, yet you're dragging regrets behind you as you continue to deal with brains and guilty all the while. If you truly acknowledge your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept the appointment as the director. Isn't that right, boy? I don't need to listen to this. Excuse me. You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against the errors, ethics, and social values. When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, the people in the power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight. But he didn't stop researching until he collapsed. But he believed that someday he acknowledged, even if it was after he died, he still believed in it. He could only do that because of how strong his conviction was. If it wasn't for that, he would have given up. A strong will is what keeps research going. Only the most determined can achieve a result. But you can't have that. You're a coward if you still haven't decided if you should be proud or ashamed of his achievements. How could you accept the position of director with such a half-hearted determination? You knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands. I don't know what to say. Maybe I am half-hearted. Then why don't you resign? You'll still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't feel guilty anymore. You may be my partner, but you're also a simple person who requested to be... Wait... What? But you're also simply a person who was requested by my client. Okay. Now that this research is fully developed, you weren't needed. If you don't have the necessary determination to do research, begin with your especially useless partner. I'll never quit researching. I'm not afraid of guilt or regret. My conviction is what will take me to the future, just like Dr. Takano succeeded, I'll succeed alone. That's impressive. However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I do have a will, and that's why I'm here. As you said, I already have blood on my hands. After I arrived in Himazawa, they got even bloodier. So I can't just run from my responsibilities. I'll probably continue to be tormented by the unatoned sins, but I won't run. I'll get to the bottom of Himazawa syndrome. That's the least I can do for the people who gave their lives to this research, and also for those who will give their lives from now on. Ari wore a determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, but he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. But for a short while, Ari's eyes displayed a strong will, and then he turned around. We'll probably get consent for a good chance examination, so please start preparing for it. Yes, I understand, but director, they got their consent for the following week. Okay, I think that'll be it for this video, because 47 minutes in, with my break times I've been doing in between, it's probably been me closing for an hour doing this. And you can see we still got several more to do. I want to say maybe another 2 or 3 videos on the fragments, I guess. Didn't know there was going to be this many this long. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I know I mentioned you got to do all these in a certain order after you complete the main game. Like you get the normal ending, and then there's like the secret ending. I don't know if it's more of a secret ending, or if it's more of a true ending, or a hidden ending, or maybe it's maybe it's more expanded. I don't know, but I know you got to go back and do these all in a certain order, and I probably won't really. I'm not going to reread all these again, but I will go through them in order, and then I will show the other ending in the last part of the final video. But still, anyways, I'm gonna say, don't thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.